The weather's a little better than yesterday. It actually did start raining a little bit during the evening time. None so far today anyways. And with that in mind, what did I read today? How about this first one? Apparently there is a computer operating an FPV racing drone where they say it's better than a human. I guess you can call it quote AI too. It says Chinese algorithm beats veteran human controller in FPV drone race. A Chinese team has developed a unique algorithm that gives first-person view drones the ability to perform autonomous aerobatic maneuvers, unlocking their potential to outperform humans in intense flight missions. Details of the feat were published on April 16th in the peer-reviewed journal Science Robotics. So at first they talk about how a lot of people, they try to just focus in improving hardware to make the drones, for example, more acrobatic per se. But here they say we have demonstrated that quad-rotor drones can unlock more sophisticated flight maneuvers and graceful postures solely through intelligent algorithms alone. No hardware upgrades required. The system works based on two key frameworks: motion intent translation, which converts desired flight maneuvers into actionable goals, and risk-reward evaluation, which balance obstacle avoidance, energy efficiency, and aerobatic performance. They say they tested it with different sized drones and all too, and they say the system achieved a 100% success rate, while the human pilot succeeded just 3 times out of 24 attempts. Additionally, the human pilot needed more space between maneuvers to stabilize the FPV, while the algorithm's trajectory maintained tighter, more efficient movements. Usually in these situations, if it's a fixed course per se, then I would expect the computer to do better because it literally is just following the exact same pattern. But I'm just wondering in terms of real world situations, for example, you could have an obstacle, which is fine, but what happens if the weather is completely different all of a sudden, like there's snow and all that? Will that actually interfere with things like sensors, for example? Will the algorithm per se be able to adapt to that? It's an expected type of progression, I guess you could say, in my opinion, when it comes to, I guess, autonomous drones. And this seems so random with all that negative news, for example, between India and Pakistan with drone attacks. Apparently this was going viral where somebody posted a drone Pakoras and it says a new snack in air defense regiments. Has anyone ever eaten a Pakoras before? Apparently it was posted by a Lieutenant General Red KGS Dillon, and these 3 Pakoras are supposed to, again, just lighten the mood, I suppose, just with the fact that everyone's talking about drone attacks, killing people and so forth. It seems like a lot of people are actually taking, I guess, it with a lot of humor. It does look kind of appetizing. It makes me wonder how the person actually made this. I guess with this going viral, you can expect every single, I guess, cooking channel and so forth trying to replicate viral videos per se. Although from the light mood, more people fighting here, apparently with politics and so forth. This was kind of crazy if it's true anyways. As you know, we recently had a federal election where the party, the Liberals, they won a minority stake in the whole government, but apparently they got another seat because when they did a recount, they say they won by 1 vote in this area. Like this one says, recount sees Liberals take Quebec riding of Terrebonne by single vote. The Liberals inch another seat closer to a majority government on Saturday after a judicial recount left their candidate as the winner in the Quebec riding of Terrebonne by a margin of just 1 vote. It brings the Liberals to 170 seats in the House of Commons, 2 shy of the 172 needed for majority government. The bloc seat count falls to 22. So you can imagine there's 2 perspectives here. One side is saying, wow, every vote counts. So here's an example. You have to get out and vote and all that. While the other side is saying, wow, this is really sketchy. I'm inclined to wonder, what the heck? That seems almost not possible, huh? So I was looking at basically the reports in terms of what actually changed to make this the case, like they won by 1 vote. It seems like the biggest controversy is how there were rejected ballots initially, about 903. So that could be, for example, people filled out more than 1 candidate, so it's considered as spoiled. But I guess when they did the recount, it went down to 840 only, so they added all those votes, and it makes you wonder, hey, what's going on there? So I thought this was actually one of those examples where something like an AI would be good actually, just to crunch the data to see whether or not anything looks funny and so forth. So I did run it through an AI program, and you can see what it says here in terms of the numbers. It says the Liberal candidate gained 56 votes, while the Bloc Québécois gained only 11 votes. We're talking about the recount. flipping the 44 vote lead to a 1 vote lead for the Liberals. Smaller parties saw minor changes: Conservatives +5, NDP +4, Green Party -2, and PPC unchanged. The total valid votes increased by 74, which aligns with the sum of the vote changes. And this was the part that people found a little weird, and I tend to agree. It says rejected ballots decreased by 63 from 903 to 840. This suggests that some previously rejected ballots were re-evaluated and deemed valid, contributing to the increase in total valid votes. The total votes increased by 11, 61,107 to 61,118, which is less than the increase in valid votes because the rejected ballots decreased by 63. Mathematically, 74 new valid votes minus 63 fewer rejected votes equals plus 11 votes. And it says here the significant gain for the Liberal candidate, plus 56 votes compared to the Bloc Québécois, 11 votes, is notable. This disproportionate increase flipped the result. The re-evaluation of the rejected ballots likely contributed to the new valid votes, but the distribution heavily favors the Liberals, raising questions about the re-evaluation process. The total votes increasing by 11 suggests some additional ballots were counted or errors were corrected, but the source of these votes is unclear without further context. So what would you think in this case? I would think the only real way to ease everyone's, thoughts about this process is for them to be transparent in terms of showing clearly what were these quote rejected ballots before, and then what were they after, for them to determine, okay, they're perfectly good to go through. Because again, 1 vote, that doesn't seem believable in many ways, huh? But then again, how exactly would you be able to track all this in a transparent way? Because I don't think any of the stuff is recorded, or are they, in terms of doing the recounts and so forth? Because funny enough, I know there's been talks around the world where when people do digital ballots, it can be easily manipulated. For example, people, hacking into the system and so forth. But imagine this, if that is a possibility, where there's somebody in there that determines, okay, I want this or that guy to win, and then they purposely mess up the ballot or something like that during the count. Isn't that possible as well in some ways? Unless, again, everything is actually video recorded, which I think would be easy to verify afterwards in terms of spoiled ballots, if anyone did anything wrong and so forth. So what would you think overall anyways in regards to this? All right, see you guys later.